Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Now today we're tackling a shocking display of audacity and misinformation. A palm color woman has taken to social media calling out black people as artists while claiming to share her own experiences with articism. But here's the thing. Her narrative is rooted in a false premise that black people can be artists towards palm color people in the same way that systemic articism operates. Now, this is not just about semantics, it's about understanding the power dynamics at play. Systemic articism is not just about individual prejudices, but about institutions and structures that perpetuate inequality. Now, the woman in question claims she's not crying palm color tears or exhibiting palm color fragility, but rather sharing her palm color experience. Wait, what is palm color experience again? Like, what has she experienced? I don't know. Yet she's oblivious to the fact that her experience is not marginalized or oppressed, which is a fact. Now, we've seen this before. The attempt to shift the focus from systemic articism to individual interactions. But let's be clear here. Articism is not just about individual actions. It's about centuries of oppression, discrimination, and inequality. It's time to stop gaslighting and start listening to the experiences of black people who have been living with articism generation after generation. So with that said, let's take a look at her video as different people react. I will be right back.
Dear racist black people, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, and I hope you listen and listen very carefully. Any other race, please stay until the end of the video because I have a message and a request for you. It's not white people tears. It is definitely not white victimhood. It is also not white fragility. You know what it is? It is white experiences, something that you don't want to listen to. So I'm gonna make you listen to it. And if you don't want to listen to me, then listen to everyone else. I shared my experience. Nowhere in my video did I insult anyone, attack anyone, or offend anyone. And the first thing that you do, and by you, I mean racist black people, the first thing you do, you call me a liar, you demand proof, and you call me so many other things that I cannot even mention in this video. But you know what's worse? So many people shared their experiences, and not just the white people. And some of you had the nerve to go after them and call them liars and worse. Dear people, white and any other race, please touch my video and share your experience with racism, specifically with black people, because they're telling me my experience never happened and I made it up. They can try and silence me, but they can't silence all of us because it does happen. Racist black people can be extremely racist toward white people. There's no denying. Dear black people, I'm sorry if you're here and you had to listen to this. I hope you understand how frustrating and sometimes scary it is when we say something that happened to us because of our skin color and we're told we're liars and we're told to shush and we're told we're not allowed to talk about it. In my opinion, we should all talk about it because anyone can experience racism. The good people, we love you.
First of all, see-through Sally, there's no such thing as a racist black person. You really tried though, like you gave it everything you had. I applaud the effort, but there's no such thing as a racist black person. Second of all, powdered milk, don't touch us. Any of us with your hand or anything else. I'm sorry, but you people are known for spreading plagues. I don't want to catch anything. Last of all, clanny McClansmen. If I were you, I'd be more worried as to why it is that white men cannot seem to keep their hands off of little children. Why they pose the biggest risk to children all across the globe. Now, until they prove that bubonic plague cannot be spread through a screen, I'm going to need you to put a mask on.
I've heard enough. I'm good. Shut up, girl. No, no. You are not going to tell us what racism is, baby. We've lived this for generations, honey. We're still living through your racism. So what? You found out that some black people don't like white people? Okay. You're here to tell the tale, aren't you? You're alive, aren't you? You're unbothered, aren't you? So the only thing that bothers you is now you know that there are just some black people that you won't ever trust you, and you know it is what it is. But we have generations of examples on our side, honey, and I'm sorry to tell you this. Well, actually, I'm not. Yeah, you're not everybody's favorite like you think you are, like the world told you are. You're just not. To some people, you are just straight up the enemy, you know, and you have to eat that. But on the bright side, you have white privilege to pad you, you know. You're still white. Like, just go be white while it still lasts. Y'all got about 15 minutes left, you know. Just go ahead and bask in them 15 minutes. And like, chill out. Like, go have a latte. You're doing too much.
I honestly don't give a shit what she has to say. We already know that when it comes to this app, anti-blackness is profitable for a lot of people, and they will come on this app every now and then, every 4 months or so, you know, when they're bored because they're pathetic and have no life outside of this app. So they believe they can only get any approval and any kind of, you know, love from people that are just hateful human beings that just don't like black people. We already know that those types of people exist. I am simply showing you who she is so that you can block her. Because again, people come on this app and they start beefs with black people. They know that they can grow followings off of anti-blackness. And if they get into interactions, negative interactions with black people, that will push them up in the algorithm so that they get pushed out to people that actually agree with them, that are just as anti-black. I find it odd in all of this lady's content, when she's talking about racism in this video, she's only targeting people that are the victims of this system that white people created, and their descendants, the ones that created this system, are still perpetuating it towards black people. And she has never called out white people for their racism. We just had Trump call people scum. Brown and black people that support Kamala Harris, scum. We just watched a Trump supporter tell a joke about Puerto Rico, calling it garbage. A floating island of garbage. A floating island of trash is what he said. Not one video on that topic, but you got vitriol. She has vitriol for black people, claiming that black people are racist. Dear racist black people is what she said. If you cared about actually dismantling racism, if she cared about actually dismantling racism, she would be calling out white supremacists, but she's not. And that is intentional, because she knows that it's going to be something that black people hear, and they're going to beeline to her video and start stitching her video and calling her all types of names. And I am telling you, I am imploring you, don't do that. Just block her. Block her right now. Block her right now. Because after this video, I won't say another word about her. I just wanted you guys to see who she was so that you can block her, so that she doesn't grow a following off of your interactions. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
First of all, black people cannot be racist by definition. So you started off with your foot in your mouth. You getting your feelings hurt is not racism. Reverse racism literally does not exist. No matter how many times y'all get on this app and try to claim that, you may be targeted in some ways. You may have people hurl words at you that hurt your feelings. But the one thing that Wahite people never have to worry about is being targeted because of the color of their skin, because that is not a thing. Racism is systemic. Show me anywhere in this society that black people, indigenous people, or people of color are at the top of the food chain to systemically oppress Wahite people. That doesn't happen. That is not a thing. So, I'm gonna need you to really educate yourself. And I watched the whole video. I heard everything you said, and you were wrong. Absolutely wrong. Loud and wrong. Now, for your own edification, I recommend that you start doing the work and deconstructing your own racism and stop with this reverse racism narrative, because it absolutely is not a thing.
Dear racist, unhinged white lady, I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to explain something to you very, very slowly. You cannot face racism. White people cannot face racism against black people. The fact that you guys are taking your creation and pinning that on black people is not going to work out well for you. It's not going to end well for you. I've seen your previous video about you claiming that you were attacked by black men because you were white. I called it. You know why? Because where is the evidence? Why didn't you record it? Why? And you know why I call you unhinged? because your bio literally says you're unhinged. Lady, black people have enough shit on their plate without you adding on to it. It is 2024 and we still have you knuckle dragging, mouth breathing. It's to deal with. You seriously either need to take several seats down or seek some counseling because you desperately need it.
Nah. No, I don't think I'll listen to you. I don't think I'll listen to anything that you have to say. Because once again, a woman who is the descendants of the creators and the purveyors of the caste system of race in this country is trying to tell the victims of that caste system what racism truly is. And I don't have to listen to that, nor do I have to acknowledge that you're even speaking about it. I don't. I'm sorry. You don't get what you want over here. See, people like yourself took half of a definition from Merriam-Webster and you ran, and y'all have been screaming, moaning, piss moaning, and complaining that black people are being racist to you. Why? Because we're holding you accountable for your actions. That is what you guys perceive to be racism. Oh, let me talk about history. Oh, you're being racist to white people. Why? I thought you guys said that it was in the past. What are you offended about? Why are you all in your feelings? When we talk about things like these systems, the racial systems that were put in place at the beginning and the foundation of this country, every single one, well, not every one of you, just people that look and sound just like you get offended. What are you offended about? Ain't y'all always telling us to get over it? Why can't we tell you to get over your uncomfortability with race in this country? Brought to you in part by people that look like you and was inflicted on people that look like me. Why is this a problem? That's right. Because that part is called accountability. You see, that look and sound like you have made a whole lot of new and inventive ways to avoid accountability. Cancel culture. I don't want to be canceled. I'll be canceled if I say this. No, you'll be held accountable. But since accountable has too many syllables and canceled only has one, you guys will go with that. But you are also the ones that want to stand in moral judgment of everyone that doesn't look like you and tell them that they need to be accountable for their actions. So why can't you? You can say some racist. That means you saying some racist, not some, oh my God, he called me a snow, insert an animal, and that I feel like I've been the victim of racism. No. You can say some racist. You also expect to be able to say it without any consequences. I'm sorry. Oh, there's another one of those big words. Consequences. And we have been having this debate with you people for years now, and it's starting to become tiring. And thanks to your guy about to lose an election, hopefully we can get past this. But make no mistake about it, lady. You are not a victim of racism. At all. None. You are a white woman who wants to be able to get away without ever being held accountable. You want to live in a world where history isn't taught to you so that you don't feel uncomfortable as if anybody asked you to. You want to be able to say any derogatory thing you can and want to a person from a marginalized community and never get that stuff thrown back in your face. So you use excuses like cancel culture and I'm the victim of racism to hide that. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You might think it does, but it doesn't. Because unless you want to take your back and stop the people who created race in America in the first place from creating race in America in the first place, stop trying to call black folks who call white people on it racist. You don't live in the time where you can just say and do whatever you want to without there being any accountability. There will be consequences for your words. The First Amendment means the government can't say anything to you. It does not mean that you cannot be ridiculed, called out on your actions, had your face paraded for saying or doing something racist, and trying to bring everybody else into your accountability, your consequences. Is not going to work. So you can be as indignant as you want to be. You can say and get all angry, but the facts still remain. There is no legacy nor history of black people racism towards white people. There is no systems put in place that are wholly, completely owned by black people that can be discriminatory or racist to you. You can live in a black neighborhood. It's a free country. Nobody's running you out. And I don't want to hear about the cousin that was standing next to a guy that was standing next to another guy who was standing next to a guy who was standing next to a guy whose sister moved into a black neighborhood and got ran out by the black people. That's a lie, and I'm not going to sit here and listen to it. It's called accountability. And if you do not like accountability, my advice to you is very simple. Don't do things to where you're going to be called into account for. You're not a victim of racism. You're a well-fed white woman in America who wants to be victor and victim at the same time. Don't feel bad. There's dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of you. And even other white people are calling you to account. Don't bring us into your accountability.
Now, I just want to highlight the difference between individual articism and systemic articism. It's important to note that we're often taught about articism as being something that happens between individuals, not as something that happens on a systemic or structural level. Now, as Peggy McIntosh writes, I was taught to see articism only in individual acts of meanness, rather than as hard to identify systems granting more power to palm-color people than non-palm-color people. Now, if we think about how this distinction relates to recent events, the actions of Amy Cooper and the police officers in Minneapolis are a result of art-to-the-assist systems, primarily law enforcement being upheld by individual art-to-the-assist actions. Now, Amy Cooper's decision to call the police on a black man, Christian Cooper, who was simply asking her to follow the rules of the park, and claim falsely that her life was being threatened is an example of individual art-to-the-assist behavior because she was making assumptions about what would happen when she called. Police would automatically believe her, would put Christian Cooper in danger, and would not ask questions about the context of the situation. And her actions are also, however, an example of the ways that art-to-the-assist systems, like the criminal justice system, can influence individual behavior and support art-to-the-assist actions. Now, Amy Cooper's actions are dangerous because of the art-to-the-assist systems that exist, but her actions also work to uphold the articism of the system. It is the combination of the art-to-the-assist actions of individuals and the art-to-the-assist systems that allow articism and palm-color supremacy to persist. Now, one of the hardest elements of advancing racial justice is helping everyone understand the ways in which they are involved in a system or structure that perpetuates articism. According to Stanford legal scholar Ralph Richard Banks, the starting point for the center is the recognition that racial inequality and division have long been the fault line of American society. Thus, addressing racial inequality is essential to sustaining our nation and furthering its democratic aspirations, said Banks, the Jackson Ellie Reynolds Professor of Law at Stanford Law School and co-founder of the Stanford Center for Racial Justice. Now, this sentiment was echoed by Stanford researcher Rebecca Haiti. One of the obstacles in solving inequality is people's attitudes towards it. One of the barriers of reducing inequality is how some people justify and rationalize it. How people talk about race and stereotypes matters. I should say that this video by this palm color lady claiming that black people are racist towards palm color people is not only flawed, but also misinformed. Her argument is based on a false premise, ignoring the historical and systemic context of racism. Racism is not just about individual prejudices, but about institutions and structures that perpetuate inequality. The lady claims that black people can be racist towards palm color people in the same way that systemic racism operates is a misguided attempt to shift the focus from the real issue here. It's essential to understand that racism is rooted in power dynamics, with palm color people historically holding positions of power and privilege. This is not to say that individual black people can't hold biases or prejudices, not being racist. Black people can be racist, but rather that these biases do not operate within the same systemic framework of oppression. Moreover, her video is a classic example of gaslighting, where the experiences of marginalized groups are dismissed or distorted. By claiming that black people are racist, she's attempting to deflect attention from the very real struggles faced by black communities. Now, we've seen similar instances of palm color people making racist comments and then playing the victim when called out. For instance, a palm color woman was caught on video using the racial slur and harassing a black woman only to receive backlash online. It's crucial to recognize these tactics and call them out for what they are: attempts to maintain the status quo of systemic racism. That's it. We can't keep on talking about the same thing over and over again, educating palm color people that black people can never be racist. We're sick and tired. Dear palm color people who think like this, we're also sick and tired of educating you about this. Black people can never be racist. Before I forget, let's talk about the audacity of privilege, which is staggering here. A palm color woman has the nerve to speak about the palm color experience as if it's synonymous with struggle and marginalization. Let's set the record straight here. The palm color experience is built on a foundation of privilege, favoritism, and systemic advantage. It's the experience of walking through life without the weight of racism, without the constant fear of harassment, discrimination, and police brutality. Yes, it is the experience of being assumed competent, intelligent, and worthy of respect simply because of the color of your skin. But dare she acknowledge the truth, nature of her palm color experience? No. Instead, she attempts to flip the script, implying that her experiences are comparable to those of marginalized communities. Wow. Newsflash, being palm color doesn't make you an expert on racism or marginalization. Your experiences, though valid, do not erase the centuries of oppression and systemic inequality faced by black people and other people of color. We won't be gaslighted or manipulated into doubting our own experiences as black people. We know what it means to live in a world designed to favor palm-coloredness. To the woman in question, I ask, have you ever feared for your life during a routine traffic stop? Have you been followed in stores or questioned about your intelligence because of the color of your skin? Of course not. Until you've walked a mile in black people's shoes, don't dare. Don't dare speak about the palm color experience as if it's equivalent to the struggles of marginalized communities. Guys, I'm exhausted. I'm really exhausted. Like every time I scroll through social media, I'm met with another Dear Black People video filled with misinformation, condensation, and a staggering lack of self-awareness. Now, these videos purport to address issues of racism and inequality, but instead, they perpetuate harmful stereotypes and reinforce systemic oppression. The audacity is staggering. Palm color individuals presuming to lecture black people in their experiences, struggles, and identities. And what's even striking is the contrast with Dear Palm Color People videos, which often come from a place of vulnerability, sharing personal experiences, and acknowledging privilege. Now, these videos spark necessary conversations, encouraging self-reflection and growth. But Dear Black People videos, they are rooted in arrogance, ignoring historical context and lived experiences. They are not about listening or learning. They are about dictating how black people should feel, think, and behave. I feel it's time to call out these videos for what they are: thinly veiled attempts to maintain racial hierarchy and silence marginalized voices. We need authentic dialogue, not condensating monologues. So we need truth, not misinformation. To those creating these videos, I ask, have you listened to black voices? Of course not. Have you educated yourself on systemic racism and its impacts? Of course not. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do my viewers have to say? Share your thoughts as well on what you think about this palm color lady's video in the comment section, and let's have a conversation there. Thank you for always watching, and see you in my next video as I bring you another interesting video.